All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's session of Banks Wants You to Know, your latest source for financial discipline and literacy. So far, we have talked about how we can better manage our money, save our money, and the things that we can possibly do with our money. Now that I have laid the foundation for those things, I want to take a deeper dive and go into some specific reasons for why our funds can be mishandled. So in today's world, there's things like cord cutting, there's quick and easy delivery, and there's deals thrown at us that at first glance you can't beat with a stick. Each are presented to us in the form of subscriptions, which will be the focus of our session today. Subscriptions are a two-way street when you sit down and analyze it. There's convenience for us for a relatively small fee, and then there's consistent revenue for that business, which comes monthly in most cases. But what happens when you, as the customer, no longer have a need for that service, whether it's due to financial reasons, disinterest or changing interest, or just declining service? Some of us, we may make that extra effort to cancel those deals, but others, they may forget. And then all of a sudden, these companies are getting free money off of you. It's like they're capitalizing from our inability to keep track of our finances, which is really one of the main reasons why I bring these things to you week after week so we can take back control of our finances. So I've got a three-step plan for those subscriptions that is making your money disappear so we can help it reappear and make some good use out of it. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. All right, so first of all, before I go into it, got to ask this question. This is for the TV lovers out here. So, has anyone seen that commercial that shows a woman? She's interviewing a young woman. She's asking her how many subscriptions she thinks she has. Young woman, she goes on to say two, but then it turns out to be 13. Wow, that's a big difference there. So now I'm going to ask you, how many do you believe that you have without peeking, without looking? That is. All right, so after you do that, then check over your statement over the past couple of months, and count how many subscriptions have taken money out of your account. I bet you as well will be surprised of what you will find. So if you happen to have more than what you have initially thought, then yes, there is some work to do. So there may be some that you either don't find any value in anymore, or that you just feel you're paying too much for at the time. This will give you that extra push to make some adjustments to your account activity. Now you may decide some can stay, and then while others they got to go and it got to get canceled. Speaking of that commercial, it's a Rocket Money commercial. They can do the process for you as well. They will cancel the ones that you don't need anymore. They'll make the phone calls. They'll make the electronic adjustments, things like that. And they'll do those things for you for a relatively small fee. And that fee comes either as after the trial period or part of an enhanced plan. It's either one of those things. So you can check behind me if you need to. But yes, there is a small monthly fee to have them canceled on a continued basis. But wouldn't you rather pay around $10 a month to save money versus much more than $10 for the services you don't use anymore? So like here for example, let's say we have these six listed here. Three of these related to TV. TV is the biggest one because there's so many subscriptions that you can easily just get from TV. Just things are just so divided. Each company kind of has their own streaming services, and then I have one from an Amazon delivery that would come every month, and then this is obviously for shoes, and then this is for fitness, like your home gym. Um, those who have Apple products, iPhone, they would know about that. And you wouldn't believe, after you add up all these subscriptions, things you've signed up to, that adds up to a quick $180. $180. Some people may not even have that much to really to use for discretionary income, or what I've been calling free money. So that's eating into a lot of that discretionary income. So that's why, yeah, it's key to check those accounts from last month, the month before, and really do a deep dive on which ones that you really don't use anymore or that you don't have any value in. It's time to start putting them on the chopping block. As you decide on which subscriptions still fit your current lifestyle and which ones do not, there should be a concrete plan to follow when it is time to make those changes. A suggestion that I would like to make is either to make a determination on the number of subscriptions you would like to have or having a total dollar amount. If you decide to go with the number plan, then narrow that number down to around 3 to 4 of ones that you feel that are needed and that are wanted. So some examples of needs for a subscription would be like medicine, your pet's health plan, and household items, while wants would include TV, clothes slash wardrobe, some gaming things, and even food delivery. Now, as a TV person myself, we could argue, we can go either way about TV being a want or a need. But obviously, there are so many choices when it comes to TV subscriptions, and we can't have them all. And then an amount plan could be better because it would give you a spending limit and still kind of limit the subscriptions that you have. Let's say we decided to only keep two of these, and it's going to be this one and say, okay, we need to stay fit. It's the springtime going into summertime, so we're going to keep this one as well. And X these ones out. You have one for TV, one for fitness. That adds up to $85. Let's bring this back up here. All of a sudden, you have 85 extra dollars that you can spend. That's almost $100 that you can spend that it could go to either savings. It can go to just anything that you would like that you would make useful. And let's say you don't do the number, but you decide to do an amount, and you want to have that amount as subscription game is crazy. I'm gonna have a limit of $50. There are three that add up to $50, which would be this one, the Netflix, and fitness, which means these three would have to go. But look how much money you would be saving. I'm only spending 50 now. That's why it could be better depending on the dollar amount that you decide to have as your limit for total subscriptions. Now, in this example, we were saving $130. That's even more money that could go to anything that you would like. That wouldn't be eaten up by a lot of these subscriptions. Also, there's even a solution if you decided, okay, I want to keep some of these. Like for example, I want to keep YouTube TV, and that's actually personal to me. Like I was once on a YouTube TV plan with two other friends, and we split the cost three ways. Cost was 75 at the time. Split it three ways. That's $25. So that's $50 less than what we would have to pay if we had it on our own. So having options like that, family sharing, uh, splitting costs, things like that, that's really something to consider. And it's something you can do with certain subscriptions, maybe a lot of them, but just not with Netflix because we all know they're cracking down on family sharing nowadays. All right, earlier with the number of subscriptions plan, we kept two. They added up to 85. You subtracted it from 180, gives us $85. That's free money. that can now be saved. And then also with we decided on a spending limit of $50 for the amount plan that allowed us to keep three of these, added up to $50. You subtract that from 180, you get 130. So with those amounts in mind, now it's time to determine what are we going to do with them. Stay tuned. Once you've decided which subscriptions you're canceling, adjusting, or sharing with family or friends, then it's time to see how much money you've saved. You'll get a good view of this likely in the month after you've made those changes. There are two reasons why this should be done. One is to celebrate. It could be a small win, but it could also be a big win depending on how much you've saved and how much of a relief it could be for you. Whether small or big, celebrate those wins. The other reason is now you can see what you can do with the money that is now freed up. No, this isn't a time to go blow the money on a night out or do other random things, do other random spending. But as we talked about in the past videos, that money can go to your goals, like for saving, for vacations, or a boost to a down payment for your car or a home. So it's always good to see where your money is going and where else it could go. So adding up the saved money from canceled or adjusted subscriptions is a good way to redirect those funds into something more helpful and positive. And sometimes we see deals and they seem so good. It seems so good that we have to jump on them. The cost at first, it doesn't seem too bad when we hear it. Maybe it's a $15 delivery from a household item from Amazon. Maybe it's a DoorDash membership to deliver food every so often. Then there's a shoe subscription for those shoes that you gotta have to complete that outfit. All of a sudden, you realize, or maybe you never realize, there's about $50 or $60 going out of your account for things that you may not even need anymore, that you may not even want anymore. Then once you realize that, there's some adjustments that you can make to save that money, cancel that subscription, to do something else other than letting that amount of money continue to go to waste. That DoorDash can turn into picking up the food on the way home from work, or that shoe deal may not be needed as much because now you're working remotely and you may not be outside as much anymore. And then that delivery from Amazon, that could turn into a trip to the nearest store to get that item or something similar. Now, not all subscriptions are bad, and some may be needed due to lifestyles and accommodations. But when it comes down to saving money, some of them, they got to go. Do what's best for your budget, because your budget and your account will thank you later. Now, the verse of the day comes from 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 8 through 10, and it reads, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, stand firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast." That's powerful to me, and it's definitely powerful in our finances. I was led by God to these verses, and that first line really got my attention. It is a must for us to be alert and act of sober mind in all things in this life, especially in the area of finance. Then it goes on to talk about what our adversary does when we're vulnerable or when we're not living righteously or not connected to God. And I can relate that to our finances as well, because how many of us have felt devoured, fell into quicksand, and just in that low place with low funds due to a big money mistake that we've made? There are many temptations out there that can make us spend our money recklessly, but I promise it is better for us to allow God to restore us, get us back on track, and allow him to lead us on that path of righteousness. In a world where there's a ton of things to subscribe to, let's subscribe to God's wisdom and use our money wisely. And I would like to thank you all tuning in to this session of Banks Wants You to Know, where financial discipline equals financial success. And I really appreciate you hanging out with me to learn some things about finances. If you've heard something that you will find useful for your financial journey, then great. Please hit that like button for the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who can benefit from the content. Times are hard, but we can build financial success together. And also, let me know, what subscriptions have you used either now or in the past, and how have you managed them? Let's talk about it in the comments so we can keep this thing going. Thank you again, and class is dismissed.